We're living through, here's what I think comes next. They've already been ramping up censorship for the past 4 years under Trump. They've been purging people from the public square effectively. Big social, legacy media, working in collusion with the political elite. And they've been purging anyone who's not on board with their ideology and with this communist totalitarianism that they want for us. They've been purging these people, but that's going to get worse. You're going to see more people purged from the public square. And I think, unfortunately, the way that the media is trying to paint the breach of the Capitol as some kind of domestic terrorist event, which I don't consider that, but I think that unfortunately we might see something that would be defined as domestic terrorism. I think that there's going to be an escalation of some kind of from the right.
Well,
And
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't finish your
well,
thought.
no, I just think back to that article we've talked about before, Days of Rage, which is an article about a book of the same name. And this was an article that was written before the inauguration in 2016, and everything that he predicted has been unfolding. It's been unfolding for the past 4 years, and he predicted that at some point, once the left has normalized violence in the media, in the public consciousness, and I'm sure we all have friends who were justifying what was happening this summer with BLM and Antifa. Once that they've done that, and they've said, okay, culturally it's okay, we're fine with rioting and violence, and that at some point the right is going to stop being gracious, and you're going to see tit for tat start to develop. And as much as they want to paint that, what happened in the Capitol, as some kind of violent uprising, they haven't seen a violent uprising yet. And I don't know. I think it's one of the possible places we are heading.
I think it will be a litmus test for whether the soul of America is still alive. Because at some point, and I'm not calling for violence, I'm just saying at some point, I mean, people say, well, violence is never the answer. And I get that. And it's easy to say that you're worried about falling into the Antifa and radical left ideology where violence is the first thing that you go to. Well, you don't like something, you just go be violent. But look, if you end up in a society, like, there has to be, I guess I'll ask this. Given the fact that authoritarian regimes do in fact evolve and have in history out of democratically elected governments, given the fact that those regimes become unstoppably oppressive, and democide which is the murder of their own people by a government. Democide is one of the probably the biggest cause of death in the 20th century, by far. Given those facts, what do you do? Do you never you never react? You only ever rely on argument? Is that all you ever do? Or does there come to a point where you need to do something more than that? And I don't know what I think. If you asked American revolutionaries, if you asked the founding fathers, if you asked people 250 years ago, I think the answer for them would be very clear, which is, oh yeah, you push back. You push back violently. I mean, that's what you do. That's how the country was founded. Is that still
Yeah.
the answer for many Americans? I don't know. Do I want it to be necessary? No. I want to win by argument. I want to win by convincing people, but I don't know where's the line. And for people that are always like only condemn any whiff that there should ever be a pushback, I will ask you, where's your line? When do you push back. And if your answer is never, then my next question to you is, then what's your line of defense against an authoritarian regime? How do you stop it? What's your plan to stop an authoritarian regime? Because I don't have one. If that's never on the table and everything and all the words fail, what's the alternative? Do you know, Carrie? Do you have an alternative?
Well, I think some of those people just don't. They won't. They won't do anything. It's like the people who, and I've seen people say this on some people say that even if a burglar broke into their home and had a weapon and was threatening their life, they would not shoot them.
Right. Well, that's how good dies. Right. I mean, pacifism is ultimately an enabler of the worst evil ever, like pure pacifism, because pacifism enables the brute to win, because pacifists just sit there. They don't do anything. Self-defense is not only justified, it is the morally correct, righteous path. If you care about life, you should care about your own life, and you should defend it. Sitting there while a murderer murders you because you're a pacifist is enablement of murderers, and now he will go on to murder other people, and that blood's on your pacifist hands. So pacifism is this. Pure pacifism is, I think, an abhorrent ideology that masquerades as peace, love, and kumbaya. And in fact, it enables Attila the Hun to take over the world. That's what it does. And even Gandhi wasn't a pure pacifist. And a lot of people just think that we'll just show by example. Well, someone who's willing to murder you hasn't learned by example throughout their lives. They're not an example learner. That's not who they are. They're not going to look at you and go, well, you look so nice and peaceful there. Next time I'll kill fewer people, and eventually, if enough people sit there and smile at me, I won't be a murderer anymore. That's not going to happen. That's not how reality works.